Oh, Julianne Moore, my love, my whole world, my heart. If a film stars Julianne Moore playing a character who's seeking out a lesbian affair and on the verge of a breakdown, you know it's gonna be good. You know it's gonna be good. Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video, I'm just going to be reviewing the 2009 film Chloe. If you're not familiar with this film, it's about a married woman, Catherine, who suspects her husband, David, of infidelity. So she hires an escort to try and confirm her suspicions. However, as Catherine's jealousy and desperation grows, she ends up becoming intertwined in an affair herself. As a disclaimer, for my core audience, for my friends of Xena, the lesbian affair in this film is very much kind of intertwined with the main heterosexual relationship. So that's just something to be aware of if you're planning on watching this film and expecting something different than from what it is. Trigger warning, straight people, okay. Now, this film is interesting for a few reasons. I remember watching this film years and years ago and having very mixed feelings on it, because as I mentioned, the lesbian affair in this film is very much kind of intertwined with a heterosexual relationship, and the character of Chloe taps into a lot of kind of reductive and negative stereotypes about lesbians or bisexual women. But upon rewatching this film, I kind of have like a newfound appreciation for it, and I found that I enjoyed it a lot more this time around. That is what the ladies say about me, okay. So first of all, I have to point out that there's a fun parallel between the opening of this film and that of Jennifer's Body, because in both of these films you have Amanda Seyfried playing a sapphic role and opening the film with a voiceover, which is a fun connection between those two films. Now, if we start with the positives about this film, I should say the best thing about it is the cast. The incredible acting in this film is really what carries it. Julianne Moore in particular stood out to me, and Amanda Seyfried also completely understood the assignment. Not only are both of these actors absolutely stunning, but I really appreciated the way they stayed present and their willingness to connect to each other in this film. I felt their scenes together were very emotionally raw, and both of them did a good job of fleshing out characters which I could tell were not particularly fleshed out on the page. Both of them did so much with so little in this film. Julianne Moore is the queen of lesbian tension and the lesbian breakdown. She has it trademarked, so I always enjoy watching her work. I do. Now, the love scene between Catherine and Chloe is a little weird because Catherine is in a very emotional and conflicted state when she goes to bed with Chloe, so it feels uncomfortable to watch. But at the same time, there's also a genuine connection between the two, and Julianne Moore in a lesbian love scene is always relevant to my interests, no matter what. I will say the love scene is a lot better than I remembered, and I also understand the scene more upon rewatching it. The reason this scene is so uncomfortable is because Catherine was emotionally conflicted. She's engaging in this affair simply because she thinks her husband has had one. It's more heartbreaking than romantic. In fact, the whole relationship between Chloe and Catherine is steeped in deceit and lies, so it was never going to be a healthy one. But I did feel like on some level that these two women really needed each other, and it's a shame the film didn't explore the layers of their relationship outside of Catherine's suspicions over her husband, because I felt like the film would have benefited from utilising the intense connection and the interesting complexities that these two women had to offer a lot more. I think the final scene at the end of this film with Chloe's hairpin in Catherine's hair lets us know just how much Chloe meant to Catherine, which salvages the film somewhat, because I think without that final touch, this film would have sent out an incredibly problematic message, more so than it already does, about the chewing up and spitting out of a mentally unstable sex worker with lesbian tendencies in order for a nice normal heterosexual couple to sail off into their happy ending and forget all about her. And this brings me to my criticisms about this film, the biggest one being that the character of Chloe is so obviously a vapid male fantasy fantasy rather than an actual human being. And indeed, the original 2003 film Nathalie, that Chloe is a remake of, was based on an original idea by a man, and it certainly shows. But what's happened in Chloe is there's an intertwining between that original vapid, two-dimensional male fantasy of women and the female voice and perspective in the writer's room, which you can hear through a lot of the dialogue, making Chloe a weird hybrid, which is both reductive and progressive in terms of its feminist aspects. The character of Chloe is this young, gorgeous woman who is sexually available to everyone. She then falls in love with another woman, and once she's served her purpose sexually, she then takes her own life, and that's stapled together with little pieces of feminist dialogue here and there about the female orgasm and the feeling of invisibility that some older women feel as they age, in an attempt to try and balance out those negative portrayals and cliches of women and lesbianism in this film. But I felt like ultimately these attempts were not enough to distract from it. So yes, my criticisms really lie with this film's two-dimensional portrayal of Chloe as this unhinged bunny boiler who exists for other people's pleasure, and of course the obvious cinematic cliche of punishment for promiscuity and homosexuality in women, plus the cliche of the mentally and emotionally unstable lesbian or bisexual character, all of which are far better off left in the past. I really feel like the poor portrayal of female characters and lazy problematic cliches in this film is why it failed to resonate with me. Overall, the acting and the connection between the actors is really what makes this film. And I could tell that this film kind of had good intentions in certain areas. I mean, there was definitely an attempt made in the writer's room, I can tell. But ultimately, I do feel like this film is just one of those pieces that just kind of fades into the background because it's so rife with cliches and it doesn't really have anything fresh to offer the audience, which is a shame because there's some real potential when you have this kind of a cast. Okay guys, if you've seen Chloe, let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. If you're a lesbian, if you're a woman who has a crush on Julianne Moore, come and join the Sapphic Underground Club. Just come and join it. It's a great place to be for lesbians and me. One ticket, please. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.